Okay, we're still in January. Today's the 28th, but it's chicken soup time again. Let me put the compost thing aside here. This is veg for, yeah, like another batch of chicken soup. I'm going to try something different this time. I'm going to put a nice red pepper in it. I don't know why. Now, here we've got the chicken stock that I've just boiled chicken in. I haven't seasoned it at all yet. And floating there, point to this. Floating there is a, probably a liter. I just pulled out of the freezer of chicken stock from the last time I made, chicken and vegetable stock. And that one, that's got a fair amount of celery and carota, sedano. This one I can also put in some parsley. But this is just melting that from the freezer to get all one big batch of chicken stock, and then it's time to taste that before I get all these chopped up and diced and so forth to make sure that the stock is good. You know, it's good of itself before we add in the veg. And this is all going to get fried and seasoned, and get fried in oil and garlic and the onions and so forth. But I'm going to season it with a little hot... No, I'm not. Then I'm going to add in this. 1 second here. What's in? And this is the chicken that I just extracted. I just boiled it to make that chicken stock. This is thighs and legs, which I've taken off the bone. And I'm going to go through it again to pull out any funny bits, because thighs have got femoral arteries, and they've got these dark gray bits, which I'm not so sure what to think about those. They're certainly nutritious. I don't know. To me, they're not unappetizing at all, and I like the taste of them. I don't care. I like organ meat. But I'm not... Again, I'm the only one that's going to eat this besides Coco. So I'm going to think about whether or not I give any of this away to some friends before I put the meat to its treatment. And what I'm sort of leaning towards here is to sizzle the chicken in some oil and make it a little bit crispy, and give it a little bit of heat with some pepperoncino, some hot pepper, not a mild, sweet, yummy pepper like this, but a pepper with a little bit of emotion to it, i.e. hot pepper. And then it'll go into the vegetable soup, which is, I don't know, I'm sure it's been done before, but not by me. Okay. Into the stock. Just going a nice, healthy sprig of rosemary. Just washed, cut from the plant, and rinsed. Smells so fresh and nice. Sage. I've just shaken this out good. Shaken it out good, washed it off. And some lemon peels. If you peel too deep into the lemon, it's not good. Now I stole these flavorings from a different recipe, an entirely different recipe. But I'm thinking, worst case here, we've got too many flavors that you can't tell what is what. And it's not matter and antimatter going to cause an explosion. It's wonderful flavors, fresh rosemary, sage, lemon peel, and the chicken broth. And that will cook in there for an hour, maybe 2. We turn down the heat, put on the lid, go have dinner with a friend. Oops. And we'll come back and then decide whether we need to do anything else in the flavoring department. Okay, so I've fished out my rosemary and sage and the lemon peels there. I did run this by a couple of fellas at dinner last night, and the one with their wives, that whether or not this was a good idea. I want to take note of this spoon, the holy spoon. because it's round, it sort of is not too bad to follow it around the pan, and it becomes pretty efficient at trapping these. Now I could just pour all of this through a strainer. Okay, so I've run the stock through my screen strainer, and I took out everything in the bottom of the pan, little bits of rosemary and so forth. And so the stock is really looking like a nice clean stock now, and has this kind of a yellowish chicken color, and tastes pretty good. You can detect a slight amount of that lemon, definitely the rosemary, the sage. So it's not quite where it needs to be yet. There's been 0 salt added so far, but just the general spiciness of it's pretty good. So I am going to think about what to do with the vegetables here. We've got these peppers are not going anywhere near the soup, but these sweet peppers might. Certainly the celery, the carrots, the onion, and the garlic is, I don't know, I think the jury's still out on the garlic. Okay, so I decided to made a mid-course correction here. Just cooking my garlic and onions all at the same time, waiting for things to clear up and not brown up too much. So using cooking oil that I'd left a little bit of garlic in from yesterday. Instead of cleaning the pan out, I just covered it up and leave it sit on the stove here with a little bit of oil in it, and put some more oil in there to freshen that up. But I didn't want to just dump it out. And that's what these little few bits here of garlic are. They're getting a little bit too brown. The other pieces, these little white ones here, we'll keep a close eye on them. But the onions are starting to clear, and the garlic is still looking very good. I crushed that garlic through a little garlic press. So now I was going to cook the onion in the chicken soup and then pull it out at the end, let it release its flavors for a couple hours, but I decided to go with this approach. The next thing that's going in here is going to be the celery and carrots, and I'm going to go ahead and put the pepper in and just see what it's like. Okay, there they are. Just four stalks of celery, decent sized stalks, and four carrots, and I forget the name of those peppers right now. It's a long red sweet pepper. They roast them. Fantastic. Nice, great to just eat. And that's the veg I got here. Like they say in the UK or whatever, veg, or is that in Australia? I forget. Anyway, that's a pretty good pan full of veg, and it's part of the reason I went with the peppers, just to get some more vitamins and stuff into here. And then when this is fried a while, it'll go in the stock. Well, so I'm cooking at decently high heat here. I'm going to put a little bit more oil into it. Then I'm going to use that trick and treat this like it was pasta water and put it back here and deglaze and steam it a little bit. Then the whole darn thing goes into here. Looks like it'll fit. Close. Now, for the life of me, I can't figure out exactly what's going on here, what this step is required for. But I know that some good cooks, including my wife, they sort of pre-fry the vegetables like this, sort of like I'm doing. I'm sure they have their own style. I'm going to watch really closely next time. But also some other cooks on the web and so forth, they talk about this step. But I just don't know what's happening here chemically. You're cooking them at a higher temperature, because once it goes in there, it's going to be more or less boiling water temperature. I'm not sure what this higher cooking temperature step, because you're frying them with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil here. Oh, there's a piece of celery. It's too big. Can't have that. And anyway, we'll fry them until the celery starts to look a little cooked. And I guess all these juices that are coming out of it are on the side of the pan here. You know, those look like aqueous, not like oil. They look like water. So that's juices coming out of the coming out of the pan here. I think I'm going to go with a little bit more heat, and maybe use maybe go ahead and use a little bit, put a little bit more oil in to this step. Put you over there, off the small burner. Turn you off, and let's get some more Evo extra virgin olive oil in there. A couple more tablespoons, quarter cup of it. Get that sizzling. When it starts to sizzle, then we got some heat going. Give it a couple flips. It smells good, as you'd expect. Okay, and I'm informed that parsley is I knew there was something I was forgetting. Parsley is a component of chicken soup that one of my advisors was aware of. Peppers weren't, but it's getting everything. And in fact, I think I might put some more parsley in here. Okay, more parsley, and back to one of the few kitchen tricks I know. Nice pan like this, you can save a lot of mixing time and get a nice mix by flipping it a little bit. Yep. Okay, and that celery's starting to clear up. A little more progress on the peppers than I can see, though, but maybe they're making more progress than I realized. But it's a nice, colorful mixture of vegetables here. It's got a little bit of weight to it, too. You can feel it there in the pan. They've got a little bit smaller, so I would think they're going to go in here without any trouble. Maybe I'll give them a couple more minutes to see if... Yeah, they do smell good. But just a couple more minutes here to see if I think of anything else here that I want to put in there. Okay, let's try deglazing this with a little bit of white wine. And that doesn't do a nice job of it. I'll let the wine cook away here. We'll let the alcohol cook out of it. And this whole pan full of vegetables here should go right into the pot. Then we'll turn up the heat and get it going. I think we have a very low heat now here, so we're just under boil. I don't know if you can see the steam coming up, but there's a lot of convection going on in there. And the smell of the vegetables is pretty good. So I'm going to just ease those down into the stock here. Nice and slow. Okay, now we've got ourselves, turn off the fire there. Now we've got ourselves something going here. So now it's time to do something with the chicken and put the chicken in here. Because this will only take, I think, half an hour or so until the carrots and celery are really cooked up nicely there. So what I'm going to do with the chicken here is sort of refry it, kind of, and maybe add a little bit of spice to the chicken in this pan. Okay, so this is a little bit of circumstance here. This chicken was thighs and legs, just because I like dark meat, and I pulled it off in a rather coarse way, and I'm not going to chop it up too much at all. I'm not going to chop it at all. It's in pretty big pieces here, and it's been in the refrigerator overnight. And I had to do that because I was going to a dinner last night and I wasn't watching the clock and ran out of time. And this is going to, I think, be a little bit of playing into the hands here of what I'm trying to get done, which is to give this chicken a little bit of texture. so that when it goes in the soup there, it's got a little bit of different color to it and a different kind of a texture to it. So what I'm doing here is, best I can with one hand, trying to get the chicken out of here and transfer it over into a little bit more olive oil I've got in the pan there. I think I could just do it like this. Yeah, why not? There we go. Okay, so one little piece there, in you go. Okay, so now this chicken is cold right out of the refrigerator. And like I said, it's kind of crude. It's ripped right off the skin, but this is more my style. I cut up these vegetables fairly fine because I've been under the influence here recently of some Umbrian cooks that are particularly good, and they do cut their vegetables up fine. I think it's, I don't know if there's really any cooking benefit of it, but it's a lot more work and more time to put some love into the food. I think that's the real reason they do it, just to handle the food more and to love the food a little bit more. So the chicken here is in a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, and I'm going to just start to cook that up until it starts to get a little bit brown and crispy. And then I'm going to also do something a little unorthodox with it, which is cook a little bit of pepperoncino with it. And what I'm hoping to do is to let that chicken stand out of the soup by giving it its own flavor in the pieces of chicken, and having the pieces of chicken have their own texture. Right now, this is I'm going to taste this again, but it's a decent, it's all vegetable-y and chicken-y, and a lot of goodness in that pot there. Okay, I just gave this chicken a flip, and there are some pieces starting to get a little bit of a brown texture, which gives them a little bit of a crust, which will probably soften back up once we get it in with the soup. I threw a little bit of ground pepperoncino on there, which is the little Italian hot pepper flakes. And so as I'm flipping this and I'm taking out these little bits of cartilage like this, then I'll go through a little bit more of this. It looks like this refrying the chicken in oil and adding the peppers, and I think a little bit more of that's going to start to look good, and it should give it a good taste. And then in it goes. Okay, while we wait on the chicken to brown some more, I should mention here over on the stock that I did, before I put in the vegetables, I did put in a little bit of my buddy here, the Knorr, chicken bouillon sauce powder, maybe a tablespoon, because I felt like it needed a little bit of salt, but I don't want to use too much salt, and I like the extra tastes that come in, with this stuff. So that made the broth really good before the vegetables even went into it. And now I've got my chicken in the same pan, so I'm getting a good use out of this pan. I've got was able to cook my vegetables in it and the chicken, so that's 2 cooking steps with 1 pan. So, it's a 1-pot, 1-pan meal. Not my perfect ideal, but maybe it's as good as it can get. Okay, kind of gave it another quick coating of pepperoncino, just a light coating, because I'm doing this several times, giving it a light coating, and then just flipping the whole thing over to, expose new surfaces to the oil underneath. And it looks like, it looks like the oil there's enough oil there. And that's not a lot of heat, because it's not a huge burner. It's not a tiny burner. It's not the big burner. It's that burner. I guess it seems to be doing okay here. It's sizzling along. I don't want to cook it. I'm thinking out loud here. I'm not sure I want to try to rush this. Just let it get crispy and get the pepperoncino baked into it and cooked into it, and then see how it tastes on its own before it goes in here to the broth, the soup, the broth with the vegetables in it. Yeah, so another one of these steps, just a little bit of the pepperoncino, because I don't want to get this stuff super hot. every time I go through a flipping here, I put in a little bit of pepperoncino just to get a little bit of heat and to keep this going in that direction of getting this sort of get it browned. You know, it's fried chicken. It's fried chicken in extra virgin olive oil. I could probably put some garlic in here, some nice things like that. But oh, I don't know. It's all going into the soup anyway. So yeah. All right. Okay. So I'm starting to suspect this is about halfway through, and I gave a piece, you know, a little taste there. I'm thinking it needs a little bit of salt and pepper. I hate to add salt, but I'm going to put in a little bit there. And a little bit of just black pepper. Because the hot pepper it's good yet. It's not really too hot. And then we'll go ahead and keep that process going of this browning and frying and crisping of this chicken. And like I said, you know, if you know how I cook, I totally wing everything, and sometimes change direction right midstream if it seems like the right thing to do. So we'll see. Might not be perfect. I suppose it'll be good, but it should be nutritious and not too salty. Just a little tiny wee bit of salt there. So it's good. Okay, the chicken's getting close. See, it's getting brown there. It tastes pretty good. It's got. I mean, you can make a sandwich out of this like right now. It'd be fantastic. But before it goes in the pot here, it made me think a little bit about what kind of pasta to put in here, what kind of noodles. So I'm having a hard time. What I've decided is I'm not going to put any pasta in this big batch. I'm going to take out of this batch just enough to make a bowl of soup. Then I'm going to cook the pasta for that bowl of soup, whichever kind I want. But these are my two favorites, this Quadrucci Grandi and this one here, this Fellini 55. This is what my grandmother used to use. Her soup was totally different than mine, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I think grandmother's soup's gone with her, sadly. But whatever. Gotta carry on. Okay, since the chicken's almost ready to go into the soup, I better taste it, make sure everything's going okay over here. Now, the abundance of parsley is not a bad thing. It's good. We'll make sure these peppers taste good. The carrots are done, the celery's done. Those peppers are good. Okay, I don't think that was a mistake. It might not be typical, or might not be classical, or whatever, but doesn't mean you can't go out on a limb once in a while and try something. So now that as far as I can tell, this broth is at a pretty respectable state. In goes the chicken. And I don't even have to cook that for a minute longer because the broth has been boiling here and the chicken's hot. And it has its nice tastes going on. So let's turn off that fire here. Boom. And just give the chicken a stir. And that's the broth. So what I'm going to do then is ladle this out and let it cool, in the containers for the freezer, because I want to send some over to a buddy of mine who I trust in matters of good taste, and another buddy of mine, particularly because his wife and him both have very good taste. But a little ringrazia, a little thank you for going over there to eat a couple of times. And they'll give me their honest opinion, and I know it's not bad. It might not be what they're used to, they might not love it, but they might. We'll see. Gotta take a chance. Okay, this step is not particularly interesting, but I'm just gonna ladle it out here into these containers for the freezer. They used to sell butter, what passed for butter, what they called butter, margarine tubs is what these used to be called. And I don't know what we got in them here, but you know, they are what they are. So let's get some look at watching this ladle as we go to make sure we're getting a lot of good chicken here with everything. And the vegetables. And you know, it might have been good in here. And I'm thinking next time I make chicken soup, I'm gonna make chicken corn soup. That's good. It's got little dumplings in it and corn. But this time I don't know what this is. This is chicken vegetable soup or something. Yeah, there's a fair amount of chicken in there. That's good. Now for myself, I'm just going to save myself a couple pieces of chicken. I don't need to be eating too much chicken. But I want to sample it before I decide what to do with these. And if it's good, I'll send it over to them. And I'm not sure if I'm going to freeze it first or just take it over, you know, once it's cooled off a little bit and you can handle it. Okay, more than that one. Okay. Again, some of that goldenness came off the chicken a little bit. Some of the browniness of that the frying helped with there. Okay, so we're at the point here now where I gotta get some broth in there. Okay. Just top that off with a little broth. And I'm gonna send them directions with it. The idea here is you get this to a boil and you throw in the pasta of your choice. Maybe they'll even put rice, who knows? And we'll see what we did. This is something else with Umbria, this place, and the food and the fun you can have, the camaraderie, all that good stuff. So I think I've got this filled up just to the right level here, that line, which should be good. And then we'll put our lids back on here. Let it cool, and then it goes off to the, at least the refrigerator. I don't think I'm going to send it to the freezer. No. No, we'll just send it. They can freeze it if they want themselves. Okay, and so after putting those two bowls or containers of soup in the refrigerator to take to friends, here, these two I'm going to put in the refrigerator, the freezer actually for myself. This one I poured off first. Everything, the things that were left over from the first two containers filled this pan to the rim. But now, pouring this off first, I've got all the prezzemolo here, and I'm tempted to just not worry about it and leave it that way. Let's balance that out a little bit, I guess. Because this one looks very, very light on the prezzemolo. I mean the parsley. Okay, so this one's totally prezzemolorific. Polluted with prezzemolo. Okay. Yeah, so we'll put the lids on these guys, and I'm just going to try this out then with a little bit of pasta from this pan. It's just a little bit, but I'm not that hungry now. So, yeah, I'll boil that up. Still don't know I'm going to go with this pasta, 3 minute. That's dinner. Okay, so think back, that big pot of soup. And this is the little bit that remains after I've divided it up into several groups. I mean, you can't make a pot like that and eat it all week. I mean, you get sick of it by the end of the week. That's why I'd like to send some out for some good opinions. You know, what to keep the same, what to change. What I'm doing here now is just making some. This is my final little pot of soup for dinner. And what I'm going to do is warm this back up. It's actually still very warm. It just came out of that big pot. Actually, it came out of this big pot right here. No, that big pot right there. Which is all now washed and drying here. So I've still got to wash my skillet. But as soon as this starts to bubble along like it's boiling decently, I'm going to put in a little bit of this pasta. Give me a second here to reach. It's a 3 minute fine Fellini 55, 100% Italian grain. it's fantastic. And yeah, not so much. Well, I'm gonna eyeball it. See how it goes. Starting to get hungry. Okay, we got ourselves a boil going. So how much pasta add? Not too much. That's a 500 gram package. And gosh, that's 50 grams of pasta at best. Let me get a spoon here. Get that to break that up a little bit. And put it a little bit more pasta, maybe twice that amount. Right there. I don't want to soak up all the water, but some of the juices will go into the pasta here and make this nice. So just keep this boiling for about 3 minutes. It's time to reduce the heat just a tad. Okay, let's get that flame down. Down, 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 down. I hate this stove. Ah, there we go. It's very touchy. The gas valves. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so at this point, I can just go like this a little bit. Put it back on the heat. And watch the clock. In a few minutes, that's going to be dinner. Okay, in the interest of openness and being honest about things, I put in too much pasta there, and there probably wasn't quite enough soup at the bottom of this big wide pan to try to pull off making a 1 serving of soup. So I tasted the pasta. It was not done yet. I had to add water, which is going to dilute all the flavors. But let's try it, see what we got here. This is going to come to a boil again, which is going to make the pasta get really starchy. But no, it might not be too bad. The pasta got pretty close to being cooked. Pretty close. But adding this water, this cold water out of the sink back in, was, you know, a lot of bets are off. So, Gianmarco Saro, when you make this, please make it. Please tell me what you think. What would you do to make it better? What would you leave out of this to make it better? All that. I really want to know. Because I don't know. It's kind of fun. It is fun. But don't add as much pasta as I did for the amount of water. This was only 5 millimeters or no, 10 a centimeter. No, I don't think the water, the broth, the soup in here was even a centimeter deep. I just put too much pasta into it. But you guys won't make those kind of mistakes. All right, enjoy. Okay, this has come back to a boil here for a couple of minutes now, and it looks ready. You know, the pasta's swollen up a little bit. You know, you can just break up spaghetti and do this. But I want to give it a little taste here before I take it off the fire. Yep, the pasta's ready. The taste is good. So, you know, I might put a little bit of something on it at the table, because I'm such a low salt fanatic, and it's very difficult to cook with low salt. It's just good. So rather than get out the ladle here, and I'm just going to go like this, and come on. Oh, I didn't size the bowl correctly. Okay, we'll deal with that. Okay, so I'm trying this now, and it's good. It's very good. The chicken didn't retain all that crispiness that I was going for. I don't know how the heck you could do that. That's way beyond my skill level. But the peppers didn't hurt it any, in my opinion. You know, it's in a way, it's a way to make pasta. Because you boil the pasta in the soup, and it becomes chicken noodle soup, chicken pasta soup, if you will. instead of something else. It's really good. I mean, to me, you have to try it. And, you know, have fun doing that. Enjoy it. Love the food. Love everybody you eat it with. And that's it for now from Umbria. Okay, so I never seem to be able to end these videos cleanly. And always have bad hair. But remember, I had a little bit, I diluted this because I put too much pasta in it. And even diluting it, it was pretty good. So I made the soup a little bit strong, too concentrated. But it's good, it's very good. And I am starting to get a little bit of the pepperoncini, a little bit of the heat that went in with that chicken, which is a good thing. This, I don't know, it's good for your blood pressure. It's good for your taste, if you don't go overboard. And, yeah, I think it was okay. Please give me your honest opinion. Make it something like this. I'm sure you won't make it exactly like this, but make it, you know, in your way. And I would like to hear your comments. Bon appetit.